Bob Huggins and his basketball staff are in the running to land a major transfer out of the transfer portal to round out their class for the 2023 season. And here's something about this guy. If we don't get him, we will be playing against him. So let's hope Bob Huggins can bring him home. Mountaineer Paul and I are going to talk about it right after the intro. What is going on, Mountaineer Hoops fans and college basketball fans? This is Coos.
And this is Mountaineer Paul.
And we present to you
Hoops from the Hills, baby.
what is going on out there in basketball land, Mountaineer Nation, college hoops fans. What's up? It's been a minute since I've been here with you guys. I've had a lot of stuff going on personally. Obviously, it's the off season, so we haven't had as many topics to talk about. I know my friend Paul here was able to get you guys some content about a week ago, but here we are to talk about the latest news about Olivier. You're going to have to say his last name for me, Paul.
Nkamhoua.
Olivier Nkamhoua. There we go. I didn't want to butcher it out of respect for the young man. But Olivier Nkamhoua, it's down to West Virginia and Baylor. So a Big 12 foe is also in the running to land this young man. Paul, what are your thoughts?
Well, just looking at it from a competitor standpoint, you're going against what is outside of Kansas, the standard in the conference. From a basketball standpoint, over the last 5 to 8 years, Baylor has been there at the top of not only the Big 12, but the country. They have a lot to offer, and they are a worthy foe in the transfer portal battle that we're in with them. It would be no shame to lose him to them, although it would be a shame. I don't want to see it happen. Don't want to play against him. It's interesting that he's kind of pitted us against each other here in this situation, knowing that he's going to have to play the other team. To me, that says something about Olivier Nkamhoua and himself, about his guts, that he doesn't care, that's going to be the case at some point. I like that dog. He's got some dog in him. I like that. We all know about the skill set with Nkamhoua. He's a back-to-the-basket big, 6'9", 236 pounds, can score over the left or right shoulder. He's a guy that can shoot 33% from beyond the arc and is an excellent defender. Probably should have said that first. He's a first-team All-Big 12 type defender. So we're talking about adding a guy that he's going to add so much to the roster if added, and I can't overstate just how important it would be to add him.
Yeah. And, let's not – well, first off, before we get to that, I was going to talk about NIL for a second, but let's talk about first a lot of journalists out there, a lot of writers have written articles on this story. Keenan Cummings over at Rivals, WVU Sports, has written an article. Mike Oste over at West Virginia Sports Now, or Ethan Bach, one of those two guys, did an article on it. And also Brad Smith over at Voice of Morgantown did one, and we're going to bring up his right now. West Virginia's top target, Olivier Nkamhoua, has now narrowed his potential future program choices down to 2 schools. According to Trilly Donovan, Nkamhoua will choose between West Virginia and Baylor. Kansas State and Michigan, both schools he's visited in the past week, have been informed they are out. And here's the tweet that he put out about it. Trilly Donovan, update on Olivier Nkamhoua. It's down to a 2-team race between Baylor and West Virginia. Kansas State and Michigan were informed they are out. Nkamhoua, a 6'9" power forward, entered the transfer portal after 4 seasons with the Tennessee Volunteers. Nkamhoua averaged 10.8 points and 5 rebounds in 25.3 minutes per game for Tennessee this past season. He was in Morgantown on an official visit where he toured the Mountaineers' practice facility and met with Bob Huggins and his coaching staff. Nkamhoua was reportedly very impressed with the visit, but unfortunately did not yet commit before leaving town. Nkamhoua's father lives in Cumberland, Maryland, which is approximately an hour from Morgantown. That could be critical in this recruitment here. And Nkamhoua was seen hugging Bob Huggins in the parking lot of a local restaurant during his visit last weekend. In addition, West Virginia has found ways to compensate foreign-born players with NIL deals using methods that other schools have not yet been able to do. The Mountaineers landed Kerr Kriisa, who was born in Estonia, and Jesse Edwards, who was born in the Netherlands, reportedly paying both players more than their previous schools, Arizona and Syracuse, respectively. Could pay them, and perhaps they can work their same magic with the Finland-born Nkamhoua. In other words, West Virginia put on the full-court press to land Nkamhoua, knowing he very well could be the missing piece that could eventually lead the Mountaineers to a Big 12 and national championship. Nkamhoua is not only a talented, experienced offensive player, He would also instantly be the team's best defender should he decide to join. Expect an announcement within the next day or two. So, Paul, pretty much exactly what you've been saying, right?
Right.
Great
Yeah.
defender.
So,
Great
yeah.
defender. The piece about his dad living in Cumberland, Maryland, I think is important. You
Very.
can't. I don't know that can be overstated. And then obviously the NIL pieces, which is what I wanted to get to next. West Virginia has figured out a legal way. Let's emphasize that, a legal way to pay NIL to foreign-born players. They know the rules, and they are taking advantage of those rules in every way possible and figuring out ways to differentiate West Virginia from these other schools when it comes to NIL. And I think so far it's worked, and it could potentially work with Nkamhoua as well. What do you think about that?
Yeah. I think that's a great way to break it down. We have asked people that really know about this thing with the F1 visas. I don't think they've wanted to explain it publicly because why do you want to give the secret formula away? I think this is something that other teams are privy to, but not all teams are privy to, or else everybody would be doing it. Some of the best players around are foreign players, and as a matter of fact, the number one pick in the NBA draft is going to be a foreign player. So it's really important in this day and age to land foreign players. I think West Virginia knows they're at a recruiting disadvantage, straight head-to-head against certain blue bloods, even if, because 9 times out of 10, the money's probably going to be equal. And for us, that's not always going to be good enough, at least now. You get into a situation where you can get some of these foreign guys, and it's even been said Syracuse wasn't able to work something out. That's a blue blood, as close as you can get to a blue blood basketball program. Kansas has had issues with it, although it seems like they've rectified some of that. So it's something that West Virginia has an advantage with right now. And it's allowed us to bring in, well, you can count them, Kirk Risa, Jesse Edwards, and possibly Olivier Nkamhoua, 3 foreign-born players. So really important, I think, to note that. The Cumberland, Maryland thing also very important. I'm glad he mentioned that. And the last thing he has said multiple times, I think it's important to note, Nkamhoua's number one goal out of everything is to play pro ball. And whoever gives him the best chance to do that is going to be the team that lands.
Yeah. And great point. And I think Huggins has proven, he and his staff have proven they can get guys not only into the league. I mean, Devin Ebanks, Joe Alexander, Deshaun Butler. Yes, those guys. Devin Ebanks, if I'm not mistaken, won a world title with the Lakers. Deshaun Butler got drafted. Injuries derailed him, but he got drafted. We now have Javon
Kevin
Carter
Jones.
Kevin Jones played in the NBA. Deuce McBride and Javon Carter are playing in the NBA as we speak. And then you can't even list all the players that have played for Hugs and the staff that are playing overseas professionally. And those guys are making some money playing basketball. That can't be overstated either. And then the other thing I want to touch on, Paul, before we move on, is where will Nkamhoua play? Because he essentially plays the same position as Trey Mitchell, who is coming back for his final year of eligibility. Now, we all know that Trey Mitchell is expected to be the starter at the 4 spot. Nkamhoua's a 4. There's been some rumblings, and I've heard that there's even been some talk potentially about maybe moving Trey to the 3. Maybe they're not moving Trey to the 3. I don't know. But anyway, what are your thoughts about how do they fit Nkamhoua and Trey Mitchell both into this equation at the same time?
Right. Well, first of all, I've heard it from 2 sources that are directly related with the basketball program as far as in the media. Won't go any further than that, but these are people that talk to people on a daily basis that are in the basketball program, and they get direct info. And it is a real conversation, and from what I understand was expressed to Olivier Nkamhoua. They would figure it out, and that probably Trey Mitchell would move to the 3, just like you said. You were dead right. So I think that's a real possibility. Doesn't mean that Jose Perez won't be moving to the 2, or there's a lot they have to figure out. Like I think I said in my last video on this channel, that's why Italy is going to be so important for this team. They'll be able to work out a lot of the kinks. And once you've practiced, nobody can transfer them. So Hugs can take a sigh of relief and not really worry about making this player or that player mad. Not that he probably would anyway, knowing him, but I think it's going to be interesting to see how that unfolds. You worry about spacing with Trey Mitchell at the three. I think Jose Perez would be better in that spot, spacing wise. But you want to talk about length on the floor. I think you said this to me in one of our chats.
Yeah.
This would be one of those teams you would love to see a 1-3-1 with.
Mm-hmm. Right. Yeah. And then, as you know, and both of us are high on Trey Mitchell, but I'm probably maybe a little more high on him than you are. I think Trey Mitchell has the potential to be an NBA player. I think he's got the skill set for it. I think he just needs to get some things right mentally to get the right mindset. And I think it would be hard to just place him out of the lineup. I'm not saying Nkamhoua couldn't, but I just think it'll be interesting. Is it possible, just to play a little bit of devil's advocate here, is it possible that bringing Nkamhoua in could actually hurt the team chemistry? That's something that would be a risk if you do that, if you upset other players on the roster. But, hey, you know what? This is big boy basketball. These guys know they have to compete. They know that they're there to win national titles, to win conference titles, to make a deep run in March. I know a national title is probably, is it possible? Yes, but it is, very, very low probability. But hey, Bob Huggins has said time and time and time again, his goal is to bring a national championship to the state of West Virginia, and he's pulling out all the stops, in my opinion, this offseason, he and his staff, along with the help from Country Roads Trust, to get that done. And, I'm happy with the moves they've made. I would love to see him get Nkamhoua. Like I said, I'm willing to it's a risk worth taking, in my opinion, to land a player of his caliber. You cannot pass it up. I mean, he's got Power 5 experience in the SEC, Tennessee, not only Power 5, 4 years of it. And Tennessee is a really good basketball program, man. You great coach over there with
Rick Barnes.
Rick Barnes, the former Texas coach. So the guy's well coached. He knows the game. To me, you get this guy, he rounds out your roster. You go to on this Italy trip and into the 2023 basketball season feeling really, really good about this team and their potential for this upcoming season.
Iron sharpens iron, baby.
That's
and
right.
there's no better, way for that to happen. Let's say Hugs wants to keep Jose on the floor. Well, whoever starts out of Jose or Olivier Nkamhoua would be really ready. I do give Trey the edge because he has been here, but they really are. They go about their business on the court on the offensive end just almost two totally different ways. Yes, you can throw it into Trey Mitchell, but that's like the third best part of his game. He's really a great face-up guy. He's a guy that gets a lot of offensive boards. He can score from with his back to the basket, but what I'm saying is Nkamhoua, that is his specialty, and I just wonder if that gives him the edge because Hugs loves those kind of players so much. We're going a little bit further, assuming he's going to be in Morgantown, but
right.
We have to at this point.
Right. And one thing I did see someone mention in some comments under, maybe it was on Twitter or Facebook, is that he did visit Baylor after West Virginia, which could potentially put us a little bit, because sometimes the last visit sticks out in their mind, recency bias a little bit. That could hurt us. But other than that, I really feel good about our chances. And at the end of the day, it's probably going to come down to two things: NIL, what his NIL opportunities are, and then lastly, the team he thinks he has the best shot of getting more minutes.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
I don't know enough about Baylor's roster to predict what kind of minutes he could get there, but I would imagine, based on the roster West Virginia has, he probably has a better shot of getting more minutes at Baylor. What's your thoughts there?
Yeah. Baylor's lost quite a bit. He could slot right into. Listen, Nkamhoua could also play the three a little bit. Keenan Cummings made a great point about. So I think it's all about perspective. I agree with what you said. I think it is a little scary that he visited Baylor last, but Keenan made a great point in his article. He chose West Virginia first as well, and I think that's important to note as well, that he chose us first between a list of suitors. We were the first ones in touch with him. I think there's something to say about that as well.
Great point. And real quick, guys, before we end this show, we would be remiss if we did not give you guys an update. For those of you who may not know, one of our favorite players at West Virginia, Gabe Osabuohien, another one of those players that is playing professionally, by the way, in the NBA G League for the Cleveland Cavaliers team, G League team. He was in a car accident over the weekend and was hurt pretty bad. He's got a couple, I think, broken vertebrae in his neck, if I'm not mistaken, and some other injuries. But things were looking pretty grim for him. He wasn't on death's doorstep or anything like that, but he did get hurt pretty badly in this accident. But the updates that have come out recently have been positive. I saw where Bob Hertzel, most of you know who writes West Virginia columns, he put out on his Twitter account that Gabe is now up and walking, and they're saying he has a 6-week recovery time. So Gabe Osabuohien will recover from this. Looks like about 6 weeks is what they're predicting, and hopefully that will be give him enough time to get ready for the upcoming basketball season. Of course, after an accident like that, basketball is probably the last thing on your mind. But at least for us, for him, I'm sure it wasn't because he loves to play the game. But then also, Gabe put out his own statement, and I'm going to read that to you guys real quick. Appreciate the prayers. What don't kill you can only make you stronger. Those who texted, called me. I lost my phone in the wreck. We'll have a new one tomorrow. A couple broken bones in my neck, a few other fractures, but I'm still here. And that was shared by the Voice of Morgantown on his Twitter account. And then, like I said, Bob Herschel has since put out another update saying he is recovering. He's walking and is expected to recover in about 6 weeks. And there is a GoFundMe that's out there too, floating around on Twitter. And if I can find it, I'll put it in the description box of this video, actually. If you want to help cover Gabe's medical expenses, yes, he's a professional basketball player, but I don't think those G League guys make that much money. So I'm sure he could use your help. And, doctor bills are very, very expensive. He's one of our own guys. Let's do what we can to support him. If you've got the means to, if you don't, we totally understand it. We will leave the link there for you if you want it. If you want to support him, if you want to help him out, and if you don't or can't, we totally get it too. But it will be there for you if you can. Mountaineer Paul, any words on that before we end this show?
Well, I was trying to find his salary because I know for sure they don't make a lot. Gabe is a guy that, in my opinion, he's one of the 5 best defenders in WVU history, even though he was only here a shorter amount of time than some of the better ones. He really put his body on the line for us, and really grew similar to Trey Mitchell and others have really grown to love Morgantown and thinks of it as home. He started out as an Arkansas Razorback, eventually came to Morgantown late into his collegiate career, fell in love, really meshed well with the Huggins way of ball. And I always remember him sacrificing his body, number one. Number two, developing into a really good scorer by the end of his career. And really proud of the player he was and became. Wish we had him for another year, which we had him last year. Would have been really great. We could have used that toughness, defense, and rebounding that he provided. And so just like he was tough for us then, he'll be tough through this, I have no doubt. He'll become stronger at the end of it. You hear that cliche a lot, but Gabe's the guy I really do believe that about.
Yeah, absolutely. He's one of our own, man. He still comes back to West Virginia. He goes around, tours schools, meets with little kids. I mean, the guy just embraces everything it means to be a West Virginia Mountaineer. So let's help him out if we can, guys. If you're a praying person, send up your prayers for him for a quick recovery, speedy recovery, and that he'll be able to get his basketball career back on track, and this won't derail him at all. But most importantly, just that he'll, have a full recovery and be able to live a normal life, and everything goes well there. With that being said, and by the way, I shared Brad Smith's tweet, but all West Virginia media fans are all sharing this out about the GoFundMe and stuff. Mike Ossie's tweeted it out. I think I've seen Keenan tweet it out. I've seen a bunch of people tweet it out about Gabe. So let's support him. Send up your thoughts, your prayers, help financially if you can, during a difficult time in his life. So with that being said, guys, we appreciate you tuning in. We appreciate you supporting us here. Don't forget to like the video. Give us a thumbs up if you can. Don't forget to drop a comment below. Let us know what you think about Olivier Nkamhoua and what our chances are of landing this young man out of the portal. And do you think he'd be a great addition? And also, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, guys. We're getting closer and closer to that 1,000 subscriber mark. help us get to that point. We're trying to be, here at Hoops from the Hills, we're trying to be something different for you guys. We're trying to focus only on West Virginia and some Big 12 basketball here. You can find our football content over on our other channels. Please subscribe there too. Mountaineer Paul Talks Football and Cougar's Corner. But right here at Hoops from the Hills, we're focusing on basketball, kind of doing something a little different. Hopefully you guys enjoy it and feel like you're getting something out of it. If you are, please subscribe, please like, please share, and please comment. With that being said, guys, thanks again for tuning in. And until the next show, we're out.